I grew up on 139th Street in the South Bronx, and basically it was a time of, it was a very political time. You know, we were coming out of the end of the civil rights movement was at its peak, so civil rights were very important. We were kind of lost here in the city because by law, you know, people were discriminated against legally, you know, but it was separate but equal. So I guess my first heroes I used to see when I'd be in El Barrio or in the Bronx were the guys on the posters from the dances, you know, Tito Puente, Tito Rodriguez, Machito. And those were the people role models that I could look up to that were most relevant to me. Music was a very powerful thing, you know, because it used to unite people. You know, whenever you had music, it would be a time that was really ours. People would dance, people would get together, they would socialize. So it became a very powerful force for me. So my first leadership kind of thing was maybe in the Boy Scouts and stuff like that, but I think when I started becoming a band leader to try to put kids together, musicians together to start an orchestra, that's I guess where I started, you know, my leadership kind of skills. And they paid off. I was just naturally not a guy that was going to play in somebody else's band. I wanted to have my own group. I wanted to do my own thing, and you had to be able to put it together, you know, as part of one of the natural skills. I was raised by my grandmother. She came over in 1926 from Manatí, Puerto Rico, and she married a guy from her hometown here. And she basically never left her Puerto Rican world. You know, she died at 92 and she was here 70-something years. And she never really spoke English. So I had to read the newspaper to her. When I was little, I would have to listen to all the novelas on the radio with her. She would play her old-fashioned music, the danza, you know, on the Victrola. And this was all, you know, I was just taking all of this in, and it you know, just kind of registered. So she bought me a trumpet for some reason. She had a son that died when he was 6 who used to play saxophone. And when on my 11th birthday, she bought me a trumpet. And I decided to learn how to play the thing. And I guess that was the beginning of my career as a musician. And I guess I chose Latin music because I wanted to make her happy. You know, she was always like telling me, you know, be proud of what you are. You know, if you try to run away from it, you're not going to be happy. And, you know, you're Puerto Rican, be proud of it, you know. And she was a very, very proud lady, very simple. She wasn't educated, you know, highly educated, but whatever she learned in the mountains of, you know, in Manatí, was just so correct, and you know, it was, I don't know, it saved me. It saved me on 139th Street and Brook Avenue and St. Anne's Avenue. It kept me out of trouble and taught me to respect and to love my roots. Well, we got to go back to the beginning again. 139th Street, and in the summer, you know, there would be these jam sessions where Fernando, who was a Dominican, would come and play violin, and Tijo, a trumpet player, would play the trumpet, and there would be all kind of drums, you know, it would be a party. We'd make and I realized, you know, I could see how important it was, uniting all these people and having fun without it costing too much. But by the same token, it alienated us from other people that the music was like very strange to the people of the neighborhood. So there were complaints, and the police would come inevitably, and they would break up the jam session, you know. And the next day there would be another one, and the police would come, and they'd be a little less happy about it, and maybe this time they'd take a drum or something, you know. And then the next day we'd play, there'd be a jam session again, and maybe they'd take the drum and one of the guys. So it slowly kind of turned into an act of civil disobedience, the music, and it had that kind of connotation, Martin Luther King was marching on Selma, and they were sicking the dogs on him, and we're seeing that, and we're playing our jam session on 139th Street, and we're kind of part of that in a way, because we were all, standing up for our rights, or what we thought our right. We thought we had the right to make a noise. So, that's how it started. When I started to become a recording artist, I started to write songs and record songs that were about what was going on the block. And these songs were like little pictures of, and they spoke about stories about people that were using drugs and, the theft. I had one of my first songs was Fuego al Barrio, which was the time when all of the landlords were burning their buildings, because they wanted to get rid of them because we were moving in for insurance. So, these social commentaries in the music just kind of tied into, first of all, the stories we learned that when Hector Lavoe, who was from the island, a Jibaro from the island, became my singer, and we started singing and writing these songs, we found out that they were relevant not only in the Bronx, but in Puerto Rico, in Ponce, and in San Miguelito, in Panama, and in Veracruz, Mexico. It's just a universal kind of culture and a universal message that we stumbled on it. It's not anything that we planned. It was like an organic kind of process. And after a while, people started asking me, not only to play, but, can you come to the school and speak to the students, I'm a Chubb Fellow at Yale University, where I did a lecture called Salsa, a Socio-Political Perspective. And I think that, music is very important, and art is very important as far as politics is concerned. A lot of times we can make people feel and understand the problems and the process better than, regular politicians. Yeah, I think it's very important. The most important issue for Latinos is economic empowerment first, because the only color that really matters is green. You got the green, you in, you can hang. But also, Latinos have to become more aggressive and more active in the political process, because we tend to come here and a lot of times, for generations, they're just happy to live like in the shadows, along the edges, and just kind of survive, and not rock the boat. And, other ethnicities, other immigrants, have really made their mark. And, we don't have a lot of money, Latinos, but we have a lot of numbers. And it's a great asset that we have, to work with. But we have to, first of all, we're starting out with all of these different nationalities of, Latin American nationalities. So we have to take that next step. We have to stop talking all of this, the brotherhood thing, and really live it and believe it. Because, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, there's going to be a lot of great things that's going to happen for us, in the future, and we have to be ready. We have to prepare for it. And one of the most important blocks is for us to unify, to unite. Again, Jerry Masucci, who was an ex-cop, became a lawyer, and with Johnny Pacheco, they started this Fania label. And it was like a little independent label, you know, and scouting out all of these little groups in the Bronx and Brooklyn and in Puerto Rico. And they became like the musical happening label, you know. It was like the gospel. Any, you know, if you recorded with Fania, you know, and you know, it just kept developing. You know, I don't know if he was such a genius, but then he took all of the leaders of all of these bands on the labels, and they formed a thing called the Fania All-Stars. And that was so impressive because it was like this humongous band, and it was just like all, you know, you had guys like Larry Harlow, Johnny Pacheco, sometimes Eddie Palmieri, Tito Puente, Hector Lavoe, Ruben Blades, Willie Colon, you know, and it was all of the stars that everybody, you know, their favorite stars in one band. And it went on to, you know, it just snowballed into such a big thing that it made salsa concerts possible. You know, we played at Yankee Stadium. You know, nobody had ever heard of that. You know, a salsa concert at Yankee Stadium. First of all, who dares ask for Yankee Stadium to play a concert? You know, and he actually pulled it off. They played in Zaire, you know, before the Muhammad Ali fight in Africa. It was like comparable to a rock and roll act. That, you know, that's the kind of spin and glamour and stuff that it had to it. So you know, and that all came from here, from Latin New York, from the El Barrio of New York. I'm asked a lot to, you know, to speak and to, you know, represent different groups. I ran for public advocate in 2001, and I think with about 125 grand, you know, I almost made the runoff with, you know, with $1 million campaigns. People have seen me. I've been recording since 1966. They've seen me as a little boy. They've seen me grow into an old man. And there's a certain amount that they identify with me, and thank God up to today I've stayed out of trouble, you know. So they trust me.